why the modern manosphere is making men weak. Now, in my morning feed, I found this video, and in this video is more truth and more value than you will find in all of the manosphere channels combined. And this means that every video that they have ever made. I'll quickly play this for you.
Is one masculine trait that women find irresistible: emotional resilience.
Emotional resilience. Now, this young lady, who's only, to me, seems to be about 20 years old, has figured out what all these masculinity influencers have completely missed. Now, there are two masculine images presented in the perceptions of modern masculinity, and both are paths that are leading men to become weaker and to encourage men to develop low emotional resilience. Now, on one side, we've got the modern man who is overly emotional and wants to pour out his emotions at every opportunity to anybody who will listen. The type of man that would cry into his beer on guy nights. This will never give you emotional resilience. You pour out your emotions to your buddies, but you rely upon them. What happens when you are on your own? What happens when you have to go it alone? And you will have to do this at some point. Be prepared for that day. A man needs to know how to go it alone and lead himself and not be a sheepish follower. Then on the other side of the coin, we've got the arrogant arsehole who is an egotistical show-off. Mine's bigger than yours, mine costs more than yours, and who seems to think that a regular gym habit will give you discipline and mental toughness. Now, my message to these men, I use the term loosely here, you will never have emotional resilience, and if you ever find yourselves in real danger, your first thoughts will be directed to saving your miserable, high-value, six-figure skins. The loudest mouth is always the first arse to go when shit hits the fan. A man needs to lead himself and not be a sheepish follower. And these clowns claiming to be helping young men, levelling them up. But first you've got to give them money, buy their overpriced courses, which are sometimes hundreds of dollars, and subscribe to paid communities, which are overpriced. This is why these men will always have a tendency towards cowardice in a situation of real danger, because they put themselves first over everybody else. Now, I've been training for 30 years. And it does not require a single microgram of discipline for me to train. There's the truth for you. I'm just maintaining a regular habit and nothing more. Now, I've spent time in war zones. Allow me to show you some photographs that I've taken. A bomb landing in the next street. For those of you watching this from a big screen, you'll probably be able to see this a lot better. But, I've got a selection of photos. Some weapons lying around on the floor. Now, point is, in this particular trip, this particular adventure, that kind of thing happened every day. A million gym sessions will never ever prepare you for living and experiencing something like that. And from personal experience, it is no place for either category of modern men who lack emotional resilience. The egotistical show-off will mentally break because he denies emotions, tries to act and talk tough, and it is just talk and act. It's all a front, and it will come crashing down when their very life itself might come to an end, and they realise that in here. Now, our overly emotional man who cries into his beer, I think, has the advantage here, because over the arrogant arsehole, because he at least acknowledges his emotions. But he will have a hard time recovering from these experiences because he did not learn to bring his emotions under control. He could flap like a headless chicken in a situation of danger as well and lose his mind. You know, it's emotional resilience, not the suppression and denial of emotions, the concept of controlling those emotions and not allowing the emotions to control you. Now, how do you know if you have emotional resilience? Now, you'll find out when life tests you, and it will. Now, there's a negative aspect to gaining emotional resilience, which I've noticed, and that is people will call you cold and emotionless and often say that you do not care when they do not understand the concept of emotional resilience. Everything has its downside. Emotional resilience is the ability to continue when life tries to break you or when life has completely broken you already. And trust me, it will. It's how far you bounce back up after life beats you down. Success is not six figures. It's how far you bounce back up after complete failure. And I've done this many times. It seems that I was born to be punished, and it's fine by me because this seems to have been my destiny and my fate. I was conditioned to this fate when I was very young, and it was almost like I was selected for this. Now, the girl in the video goes on to say this, but uses different words because I think she's a dating coach. She says a man who acknowledges emotions but then has them under control, no matter what happens to him, he carries on, it displays strength, and she is completely correct. If you need help and guidance in developing emotional resilience and inner will and mental strength, you know, real mental strength, not the kind that you'll get from manosphere influencers after a couple of gym sessions, there's a $10 ebook in the pinned comment down below. It's not an overpriced course or a paid community of any kind. It's a $10 ebook, and it gives you full instruction on how to develop inner will and mental strength. Stop watching these clowns and sending them money for overpriced courses and paid communities to teach you something they clearly know nothing about. Subscribe and follow for more.